Heyo, me Brian. How you guys doing today? I'm on some chips right now. A lot of my European friends, alright, Emmeline, Sobono, alright, a few others. Oh, shit! Man, this thing's kind of sucky. It doesn't stick anymore. Anyway, they've been asking me what it's like over here in America. You know, how is everybody dealing, right, with, COVID-19? Well, I can't really speak for, the vast majority of America, but, no, that's right, it's top heavy. I can only speak for Phoenix, Arizona, right, because this is where I live. Gotta get it adjusted right. All right. Here, even though the state and the governor, right, have declared, medical emergency and all that stuff, and they started all the protocols, right? It's life here is pretty much normal. I'm like, me and a couple buddies, we just went driving around, out to the stores, we went to a couple stores and got me a new pair of shoes, right? And maybe 1, 2 out of every 10 are wearing a mask and gloves. A lot of the store employees are wearing, gloves, at the minimum gloves, right? Few are wearing, masks. There was this one woman at Big Lots that was like over the top. She had a plexiglass screen, right? And she was like a drill sergeant or something, telling you, put the stuff down here, step back, put the money, right? But, a small percentage of the people here in Phoenix are that paranoid. Believe me, there are, clusters of, paranoid believers everywhere, right? Thinking that the world is going to end, right? And, God is coming back and, he's going to punish all the non-believers. But they're just small clusters. The vast majority of individuals, from my perspective, are acting in a normal, everyday, day-to-day way. They're still reasonably friendly and respectable. Right? Everyone has practiced, the social distancing thing, right? Which is, pretty good. I don't want somebody breathing down my neck anyway. For the most part, most businesses are still open and conducting, business, right? Except for like the fast food restaurants, right? And most, sit-down restaurants are pretty much closed. Fast food restaurants, just, like recently, the last couple of days, they have, allowed people to come inside and order food, but you still can't sit in the lobby and eat, right? And for the most part,
those aren't vegan, butthead.
For the most part, you know what I'm saying? You pretty much only get service if you hit the drive-through window, right? A lot, because the state has declared its, emergency. A lot of the state, the vast majority of state employees are at home. In quarantine, right? A lot of the state government buildings are closed, right? About the only city, a lot of the city, employment, a lot of city employees are, at home. About the only city employees or state employees or county employees are still working are the law enforcement officials and the officers. Believe me, there's cops everywhere, all right? And, like the game wardens and stuff like that. Most businesses here have, are tech-oriented software, equipment, government contractors like Halcyon and Motorola, right? A lot of them are closed. Like where I work at, it's I don't know, they're pretty much not an essential business, right? But we have contracts to fulfill, worldwide, and so we work, I'm on a regular work schedule. Right? Aside from that, pretty much life is normal here in Phoenix. You know, the weird thing is that on the weekend there's traffic everywhere, like normal. But on the weekdays, because most people are at home, in self-imposed quarantine, there's very few traffic. It's almost like a ghost town. I mean, when you're used to seeing 10,000, 15,000 cars a minute, and that comes all the way down to 20 or 30. It is a little weird. It's a little off-putting. It's like, man, what the hell is going on, right? But when you think about it, a lot of people are at work, or off work, right? Because there are a lot of businesses here, right, are connected to the government or in some way, shape, or form, right, or government contractors, right? Now, are people scared to death? A few are. I have some friends that have locked themselves in and they are just deathly afraid. But most of them are young people. They haven't dealt with this kind of thing over the course of their lifetime. Believe me, I'm 61. Well, I have dealt with this since like the mid 80s. Right there, it seems like every year, every other year, there has been some kind of you know worldwide something or another, saying that this outbreak of this or that. I mean, there was SARS, there was HIV, there was AIDS, right? There was Ebola, E. coli, bovine. There was the mad cow disease outbreak in England, and a little bit here in America, right? There was the swine flu, the avian flu, the bird flu, the China flu, There was, I mean, it seems like, for the most part, the last 20, 25 years of my life, every year, every other year, there's been some kind of worldwide, something or another going on that threatens the life, of all of us. How am I reacting to this? Well, to me, it's just another one of those things, right? One of those, issues that I have to be mindful of, have to be cautious of, have to be careful about, dealing with, other individuals, because the reality of the situation is that you really don't know, right, who could be, a carrier, right, of this virus, right? So it's a good thing to keep your distance, for yourself to be respectful of others. If you got a cough or sneeze, cover your mouth and stuff, right? But for the most part, here in this city, the metropolitan city, remember, Phoenix, the metropolitan city of Phoenix is 13 cities altogether. There are millions here. Like I think the last census said something like about there are 6.5 million people that live in this metropolitan city, right? For the most part, everybody's been, respectful and mindful and still friendly, because, there are, and a lot of people that live here came from somewhere else. There are, probably less than 15% of the total population of the city of Phoenix is, indigenous, native individuals. Like me, I'm a native Arizonan, but I'm from Winslow, right? It's just that I've lived here in Phoenix for, the last 40 some years. Right, but for the most part, the vast majority of people came from somewhere else, from back east. A lot of people came from California, and so they outwardly, are friendly, and well-spoken, intelligent individuals, right? That understand, the gravity of the situation, but no one is, really truly afraid, right? Because Arizona has had less than, I think altogether we've had like about, upwards of about 1,000 cases of specific COVID-19 infection, and probably a couple of hundred deaths, and most of those are people over the age of 65, right, who have a weak immune system, or have a history of diabetes or heart disease, or respiratory disease, and that's what this virus attacks, right? And me, I'm fairly healthy. I'm a smoker, which is a negative, right? But I, exercise regularly. I eat pretty well. You know what I'm saying? I do the right things, right? And most people here do, and they understand, the value of doing that, right? Um, so for those of you, my European friends, a lot of you, I understand. I know that over there in Europe, it's really crazy because you guys have a high, concentration, a high density of individuals, what I'm saying, per square mile. Right here, right, this metropolitan city comprises 315 square miles. Yes, Phoenix, the metropolitan city of Phoenix is bigger than San Diego, LA, San Francisco, Sacramento, right, and Seattle, all combined into one area. Right? But the density, right, per square mile is not as high. You know what I'm saying? I mean, right? Because most of our businesses are on the main thoroughfares, north and south, east and west, right? With the neighborhoods in between that comprise the square mileage of the grid. Because Phoenix is laid out in grids, right? So, are people afraid here? Um, I would say that's like a 50-50 mix. Right? People are cautious, right? People are mindful, and saying, but for the most part, it's just like normal everyday life, except for those that can't go to work. Right? And those people are wondering what the hell, saying how are they going to survive? Saying how are they going to pay their bills and this and that whatever. And they're plugged in and dependent upon Mr. Trump and his we're going to save everybody, we're going to give everybody money, we're going to pay all of everybody's bills, right? But those of us saying that don't believe or trust any of that, right? We go to work, right? And we work hard, right? And we are prepared to deal with whatever situation comes along. That's how you do it. This is me, Brian. Thank you.